Hello and welcome to the opener about two-step solving. So these problems are just going to be a little bit harder than one-step solving problems. Instead of just undoing one operation, we'll have to undo two operations. But otherwise, the idea is pretty much the same. Okay, well, if we take a look at this first problem, we've got negative 9 times a. So here's one of the things we're going to have to undo. And then plus 15, so there's another of the things I'm going to have to undo, equals negative 318. So remember that the goal is to get that a by itself, so we're going to peel everything off until that a is left all by itself over here on the left side. And the way that we peel them off is sort of the opposite of the way that you would be doing it if you were evaluating this expression. Okay, so the order of operations tells you that of the two things here, then the negative 9 and the 15, you would use the negative 9 first, right? Because multiplication happens before addition. But since we're undoing things, we'll be undoing them in the reverse order of that. So we're actually going to start by subtracting the 15 on both sides. So negative 318 minus 15 is negative 333 on this side. And remember, the reason we did that is positive 15 minus 15 is 0, so that's gone. And so I'm just left with negative 9a by itself. Alright, well, now I'm down to a one-step equation. So hopefully you're comfortable enough solving one-step equations. That's dividing by 9 on both sides isn't too big of a deal. Oops, and I forgot to write my negative on the 313 there. Sorry. There's the 333. So negative 333 divided by negative 9 is 37, and there's your answer. As long as you have a minute to do it, why don't you check and make sure that negative 9 times 37 plus 15 really does give you negative 318. It does. Okay. Next up, we've got b over 4 minus 398 equals negative 280. I will give you a second to ponder what you want to do with this. The first thing we're going to do is deal with this negative 398 here, so I will be adding 398 to both sides. So negative 398 plus 398 cancel. I'm left with b over 4 on the left side, and then on the right side I have 118. Alright, down to a one-step equation. Since it's dividing by 4 right now, I'm going to multiply by 4, because 4 divided by 4 just gives you 1, so I have 1b here, and that's just b. And 118 times 4 is 472. And again, you should check and make sure it really works. 472 divided by 4 minus 398 really will give you negative 280. And if you have a calculator, you can just kind of punch that in and check it real quick. Okay. Now, in problem 3, we still have an addition and a division happening. As you look at problem 2, we had sort of the same situation. I guess this one was a division and a subtraction. Now, in problem 2, we dealt with that subtraction and addition part first. Now, think about if we just subtracted 73 on both sides, it wouldn't actually work, because we don't actually have 73 on this side. We actually have 73 over 2. So something that exists here that people don't usually bother writing is there's really a set of parentheses around that numerator. Now, if I ask you to plug in, substitute, say, 5 for c, substitute in 5, tell me what you get. What's the first thing you would do? And I think, even if I didn't write those parentheses there, I think you would add the 5 plus the 73. So really, the thing you would do first in doing the order of operations is you would do that addition that's on the numerator. So since we're undoing things, we don't want to do that first. We want to do that last. What we want to do is deal with this 2. So it's a division by 2. So what we're going to do is multiply this side by 2 and multiply this side by 2. Oh, isn't that convenient? All of the 2's cancel on both sides. So we're just left with 3 plus 73 equals 9. There you go. And again, if you've got a minute, go ahead and check it. 16 plus 73 divided by 2. Really it's actually pretty easy to see that it works. Okay, and the last one, there's actually 2 ways to do this problem. I'm going to start by doing it as a 2-step solving problem, although actually most people I think would do it a little bit differently, even though it's more steps. I think the easiest thing to do in this problem is to start by dividing both sides by 4, since we've got this 4 here and it's multiplying this set of parentheses. We're going to save that set of parentheses for last. So I would divide both sides by 4 first. Right, 4 divided by 4 is just 1, so I'm just left with d plus 23 equals 19/4. I guess if we wanted to, we could convert that to a decimal for the purposes of this problem, which is just 4.75. And then in order to get d by itself, we'll just subtract 23 on both sides and get that d equals negative 18.25 using decimals. Okay, the other way to do this problem is we could have started out by distributing that 4. This is the way I think most people do it. We would have had 4d plus, let's see, 4 times 23 must be 92. 92 equals 19. And now you really, from here on in, you have sort of a 2-step equation. So subtract 92 on both sides, so 19 minus 92. The negative 92's cancel, so I've got 4d is equal to negative 73. And divide both sides by 4, and lo and behold, you get the same thing, negative 18.25. And once again, take a minute and check 4 times 18.25 plus 23 really does come out to give you, if I remember to write the negative, really does come out to give you 19. Okay, so solving 2-step equations is just like solving 1-step equations. You look for what operations are happening in the problem, and then you think about how am I going to be able to undo those operations. And you got to keep in mind that since you're undoing them, you're